Hi, and welcome to our sixth chakra, Ajna, our third eye chakra. Ajna means um, command center or perception center. And this third eye center is very closely related with our pineal gland, and I find the pineal gland very interesting. It's shaped just like a pine cone, and a pine cone has this ancient geometry, the way it's put together in it. And scientists are a little unclear exactly what it does, but it is connected to your envisioning, to imagination, to your dream world. And this third eye chakra is really the center of our deep spirit self. It's considered the soul, the seat of the soul. And while our physical eyes see the material world, Ajna, or this third eye center, helps us look into the realms of deeper intuition, clairvoyance, imagination, creativity, and visualization. And we all know, if you know somebody who's an athlete, or you are one or have been one in the past yourself, you know how much visualization can really help. And when you visualize what you want to happen, you can make that happen. So this chakra is not just focused on observing all the information and experiences, but it influences your thinking and your understanding, whether you're open-minded or prejudiced, whether you're positive or negative or hyper-aware of all that's around you or completely unobservant. And so as we work through this chakra, it helps us to stop relying on only what we see with our eyes. I may have said this before, but scientists in some study, I can't remember if it was Harvard or where it was, have said that we only can visually see I think it was 0.9% of what is around us. Our vision of the amount of light that we can take in is very small compared to everything that's there. And if you think about electricity, we know it's there, we see the result of it, but we can't actually see it, but it's still there. And there are many things around us that are not there. So these practices will help us become more sensitive to other ways of looking at things, of other ways of perceiving, and perhaps a means of assessing a really vivid dream, or paying attention to that inner voice that we, as a society, tend to discount, that inner knowing and that inner wisdom, and instead rely on things outside of ourselves to tell us what's true. And so it also helps us illuminating our own patterns, and maybe even begin to perceive the movement of subtle energy, which is something we work with in our yoga practices, and have more access to that intuition. And you might even begin to see the lines of energy begin to light up in your inner vision when you're in a certain yoga pose. And then also in our practices, we're going to talk about drishti. And drishti is our point of vision, what we're looking at, our gaze. And there's a saying that where your attention goes, the energy flows. And so wherever we put our attention in our yoga practice, that's where our energy flows. That's where our inner vision flows. And so rather than focusing on what's wrong with yourself, we begin to focus on what is good, what is positive. And a deeper level of our yoga perspective is learning to command our perspective and move away from those negative things. And also when we're talking about the pineal gland, it's also a light sensitive organ. So this is how we tune into our circadian rhythms with the change of the seasons and light and the darkness. And it is linked to the production of melatonin, which helps us sleep. And they also suspect it is connected to those near-death visions that happen and all part of that imagination. And it begins to not function as well as we get older. And because it produces melatonin, that's why we sometimes need to add a little melatonin as we get older. And see if there's anything I forgot I wanted to talk to you about. This is really interesting when we really think about this. And I already talked a little bit about this. The pictures that you hold in your mind command your reality. But sometimes some of the obstacles for creating that reality can be internal, our limiting beliefs and our doubts. Sometimes they can be external, our negative responses to ideas or lack of money to launch a particular idea. So what I wanted to bring to light is this idea of when you're asleep and dreaming, the subconscious imagines something, and that something immediately appears. Because the logical mind is turned off during the process of sleep. And we'll talk a little bit about this when we get into Yoga Nidra practices very soon here as well. And because this logical mind is turned off, it doesn't interfere with whatever the creation is going on in the imagination. So I'm sure many of you have had this in your dreams at some point, where flying or floating is effortless. Things and places change. There are no limitations. And so this is a very interesting realm in which to work with when you are creating your reality without limitations. It's here in this sixth chakra that we have the freedom to play with ultimate creativity and expanded possibilities. So this is really an interesting subject to connect with. A lot of curiosity. And so here we can begin to listen to the whisperings of our soul and speaking to our life purpose. So I hope you will join me on the mat for all the practices that we have in store for you and begin to explore with curiosity this particular chakra and the ideas that go along with it. Oh, and speaking about elements, of course, this is connected to our vision, but it's also the connected to the element or the vibration of light. So we'll see you on your mat. Thanks for joining for this intro.